Hello, everyone. My name is Michelle D. Clark with Lift Life Coaching Solutions, where we are living inspired, free, and transformed. I am super excited because we have with us today an exciting guest. Her name is Mrs. Robin Wilson, and she's with the Leadership Experience Tour April 2021 with the Sean Fair Consulting Group. And I'm telling you, she has a powerful, powerful story. I've been able to watch her during the rehearsals and just seeing how her story itself has transformed and how transparent she's become in front of the audience. And so she just got finished coming off the stage with her speech. And so I would love to introduce to some and welcome to others, Mrs. Robin Wilson.
Welcome. Thank you for having me,
Michelle.
Welcome. It's a pleasure.
Absolutely.
Yes.
Absolutely. So tell us a little bit, first of all, I guess we can start back because I want to give, a background of your story. So, and then we can go into how you felt about the experience. But I definitely wanted the people out here to know what your story is.
Absolutely. So I'm a teacher. I'm a certified teacher. I'm a children's author, nonprofit consultant, and motivational speaker. And right now I'm joining you for the Leadership Experience Tour. Yes. And I'm excited because this is the first time that I've shared my story in such a major way.
Yes.
I think that a lot of people who know me, and especially those who follow me online, they know that I'm successful.
That's right.
And they know that I'm accomplished. However, everyone has a story, as you know. And my story is that as a child, I was a struggling reader. And I also was an epileptic. And so I had epilepsy from the time that I was 4.5 to the time that I was 13. And that really left a mark on my early childhood because those experiences, they shaped me.
Yes.
But they did not shape me in a bad way. I think that, some experiences that we have can actually help us to get to where we really are supposed to be in our lives and lead us to our life's purpose.
Absolutely.
And for me, I feel that my experiences did that because with the help of a church member who I honored today, I was able to overcome my reading challenges. She worked with me. And she also encouraged me because she had a similar story where she also struggled with her reading. And when she shared her story with me, it absolutely changed my life.
Yes.
Because it was the first time that I met someone who understood my struggle.
Yes.
And I think there's something to be said when you can meet someone who you can identify with. And she was that person for me.
Absolutely. Yeah. Because sometimes we see the person and they're already on the other side. We see them already successful. So we don't know their backstory. We don't know their struggles. And so that was like a really huge connection for you that I would say, and I'm sure you would too, that it really changed the whole trajectory of your life.
That's right. It did, because it let me know that if she could do it, then I could do it.
That's
because at the time when she shared her story with me, she was a nurse and a school teacher. And so I was 13 years old and I didn't have a clue as to what I really wanted to do with my life. I knew that I wanted to become someone.
Yes.
I knew that, and I had a sense within myself that that God intended for me to be something great. But I was struggling. And when you're in those moments where you're struggling and you see everyone else around you not struggling with the same thing that you struggle with, you start to wonder, well, what makes me special? Because, I think everyone needs to feel a sense that they're special. And I think everyone does have something that's special about them, but sometimes you need other people to really help draw that out. And that's what I'm trying to say. I know that God created me special, that, he had a special purpose for me all along. But I believe he used Mrs. Brinston to help draw that out and to speak into my life and pour into my life, because not only did she share her story with me, but she encouraged me along my journey to the point where I graduated from high school with honors. I enrolled in college right after graduation, and I went on to become a school teacher, a nonprofit founder. At a very early age, I became a nonprofit founder, and like I shared earlier, I also published a children's book about music, about jazz. And so I think that it's definitely fueled my passion for doing the work that I do, because I have experienced firsthand just the power of one story.
Yes.
And, changing someone's life.
That's right.
Absolutely.
Now, I perused your website, and you have done a lot of different speaking at different organizations that is really impactful.
Yes.
And so did you want to talk a little bit about some of your speeches that you've done in the past?
Absolutely.
And which organizations?
Absolutely. So I focus on young people, and I also have a special passion for women and young girls, because I'm a woman, and I know what it's like to be a young girl, because I've been a young girl, and I know what it's like to be a young woman because I've been a young woman. I'm still young too, but
right.
But I mean, when I was younger, I do understand some of the things that young girls go through, and so that is my target audience. And I've spoken at different events. I've spoken at the Nick Whistle Conference, which is a conference for young college women leaders, and I enjoyed that experience. I led a workshop on how you can successfully start a nonprofit organization, and I was privileged to do that because, again, I was a young nonprofit founder and leader, and I was 23 when I started my nonprofit organization.
That's phenomenal.
And so I know that the work that I've done, again, it's influenced the things that I do now. I speak at organizations that invite me to come and speak to their youth. I recently had an opportunity to speak to middle and high school young people with this called Young People Travel Global Edge. And it's a wonderful organization that I support because they motivate and encourage young people to travel the world, and they provide resources for them to be able to do that. And now at this stage in my life, I have been able to travel around the world, and I've traveled to 8 different countries.
Wow.
And I've traveled to 18 different states, and so I love to travel, and it's definitely broadened my perspective on the world.
Mm-hmm.
And that's one thing that I also share with young people. So it's not just about education in the sense of just, doing
structure.
well. That's right, doing well in school, though I definitely speak to that. But I also speak to young people about broadening their horizons. Dream,
Yes.
Don't be afraid to dream. I didn't travel abroad until I was an adult, but I had always had a dream to travel abroad, even when I was in high school. Now, my family didn't have all of those resources for me to be able to do that,
Right.
At the time, but I never let go of that dream. So even in terms of motivating young people to dream big.
Yes.
That's something that I do in the current work in the organizations that I go to speak at. And I even had a chance recently to speak at a local community college, my community college in Flint. And I talked to the young college students about opportunities to study abroad. And many of them come from similar backgrounds that I actually came from, where I started off at a community college. So, I try to accept speaking engagements where I feel like I really can connect with the audience and offer them something of value.
Yes.
Because I think that when I know that I can connect with the audience and let them know that, okay, I've been where you are,
Mm-hmm.
then it really does help.
Absolutely.
It really does help.
It does. And because it's almost like the domino effect. So, the teacher that helped you found that connection.
That's right.
And so now you're, paying it forward.
That's
and
right.
Then you're able to connect with the audience and they can connect with you. And so it's all about connections.
That's right.
And I just want to say, as human beings, we are all interconnected.
Yes, we are.
And so it sometimes saddens me when our differences are emphasized as a negative.
Mm-hmm.
Because if you think about it, I love talking about outlets and plugs because sources and things like that.
That's right.
But if you look at the socket is not the same as the prongs. The prongs have to go in there, right? So they're different.
They're different.
But they go together and they help each other out and they bring power.
That's right. I like that analogy. I do. I like that analogy. I agree. I mean, I obviously, I've had a diverse experience, but I grew up, in a predominantly African American community, and I'm proud of my roots and I celebrate my culture and my history. But like you said, I still can appreciate working with people from different ethnic and cultural backgrounds, because I do find value in plugging in with other people from different walks of life. You can, in my opinion, I'm sure you probably would agree, I learn a lot from others. And not just people who are my peers, but even from young people that I work with, which is another reason why I really love working with young people, because I think if you're like me and you take time to listen to them, many of them have some wonderful, amazing ideas, not just about the world and life. And granted, they're still going through their life and walking through the different stages of their life. But I think there's a lot that adults can even learn from young people, and not just young people learning things from us.
Absolutely.
Yes.
I just started laughing because I was thinking about my daughter. She's so amazing, and she's so insightful, and sometimes we sit looking like, you only 13. But they are able to take in so much. I bought an iPad for my business, and next thing you know, she has it. She's gone on with it, and it's like they almost come programmed for the next wave of technology, the next wave of whatever's happening in our world. And I'm sure my parents probably felt the same way about me. So we definitely, it's a give take. It's reciprocity.
That's right. And I'm sure that your daughter is amazing, because she has an amazing mom. Oh, she does. She has an amazing mom. But you're right. I think that, we don't give young people enough credit.
Exactly.
Because they are really intuitive. They know when you're faking the funk.
Hello.
And so, I actually, when I come into organizations, because I'm a nonprofit consultant, and I have worked with organizations before who, I think they had the best intentions, but sometimes just were a little bit disparaging towards young people, and whether it was in who they had in place to lead a certain program that was geared towards their young people. I'll never forget, and this was actually even before I started doing consulting work, but it was an organization that I worked within. And I'll never forget how when I hired into the organization, I actually wasn't hired in to work with the youth. I was hired in for an administrative position. Okay. However, they didn't have anyone to be the youth advisor to their youth advisory committee, and they needed someone to take that role, and no one wanted it. No one wanted it within the organization. Wow. Because
that speaks volumes.
That's right. No one. They had a youth granting body, because this was a foundation. They had a youth granting body, and no one wanted that role, because a lot of the individuals who had worked with them before, they felt like the young people weren't listening, and they just found it incredibly hard to work with them. So when I came in, they were not necessarily completely receptive to me immediately, and I didn't take it personal, because I took time to get to understand who they were. And as I got a chance to talk to them and understand what their experience had been, not based on what I had been told, but from their perspective, what I came to understand is that they had experienced having advisors that were just simply coming in to tell them, what they needed to do. And that's not letting youth lead.
Exactly.
That's just telling youth what to do.
Right. And be a parent, basically.
That's right. And even as adults, we don't like it when people just come along and just want to tell us what to do. We have minds. We are thinking individuals, and they were definitely incredibly intelligent. So I understood. And my first priority was to build trust. Because I needed for them to understand that my intentions towards them were good. And I'm sure that the other individuals' intentions were good, but they took the wrong approach.
Exactly.
And it caused mistrust, with the youth. And they didn't want that, because they were actually leaders. They were leaders. So stifled leaders, that's right. So what I had to do, like I said, I had to give them their space, and take a step back, get to know them. And once I got to know them over, I would say the course of like 3 months, I went in with cards that I had written out to each one of them with 4 characteristics that I had identified about them, from my conversations with them, like quality characteristics that I noticed about them, whether it was from our conversations or just observing them.
Yes.
And I put them in envelopes, and I made sure I set them on the table where I knew that they would sit when they came into that meeting. And I also had prepared like a visioning board with different ideas, not so much ideas for what they should do as a youth granting body, but just them as a granting body. How I saw all of their different gifts and all of their different unique characteristics working together to create change. And when I start speaking to them and calling them by name and telling them, I see this in you.
Yes.
And this is what I see in you. And this is how I see it contributing to this vision. I finished that whole presentation to them with, how do you want to use those unique gifts and talents that you have to create change? And because in order to create change, we have to have a growth mindset.
Yes.
So that means we have to be constantly changing. But how are you going to use your gifts and your talents to create that change? So I put the onus on them.
That's right.
And I wasn't saying, I'm going to come in and create this change for you. No, you're going to do the work. Because I knew that they wanted to do the work and they were capable of doing it, and I wanted them to know, I see you.
Yes.
And I'm telling you, once I did that, their whole attitude changed, and they started sharing more of their ideas with me because they then trusted me with their ideas.
They knew you cared.
That's right.
Again, you were able to connect.
That's right. And it made a big difference. Mm-hmm. And they planned a beautiful program, a fundraiser, and I had a chance to go with them to several events before I transitioned out of my role with the foundation. But that's just an example of some of the work that I've done with young people, and I've really enjoyed it because young people, they don't need us to give them a voice.
Right.
They already have a voice. They need to be empowered to use it.
Exactly.
And then we need to be willing to give them a space to do it.
That's it.
We can't tell our young people, you have the power to create change, and then we want to stifle their voice or make them feel like they don't have a voice at all.
Exactly.
And sometimes it's not even making them feel like they don't have a voice. Sometimes we tell them, whether it's through our words or our indirect actions, that you don't matter. And that's not the message that I want to send to young people. I want them to understand that being a youth is an asset, that you are an asset, and that your ideas, they matter. And they have the power to change things.
That's it.
That's it. That's right.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
Well, this has been amazing. And I guess the theme that I found running through is connect.
That's right.
It's connect. And people don't care how much you know until they know how much you care.
That's right.
And you added that care in the recipe. And that's why you got such good results with the youth.
That's right. That's right. Thank you so much.
Oh, absolutely. Oh, we're not done yet because we got to get some information on Ms. Robin Wilson on what she thought about the leadership experience tour. So what was it like? I mean, I know this has just been a tremendous walk. And to now have it come to, I don't want to say a head, but just like this climax. And you did a phenomenal job.
Thank you.
And so, yes, absolutely. And so what were some of your experience like? Well, give the folks something that you want.
Okay. Well, when I got up there, I was just excited to be there because I knew that my mentor and longtime friend was going to be there. Mrs. Princeton was in the audience, and so was my husband. And I knew that I would support it, and I felt like the audience wanted to hear what I had to say. And I went on that stage that way, knowing that these people who have come out today, they came out because they wanted to hear my story. They came out because they wanted to hear our story. And it was amazing. And so I'm looking forward to being able to do more things with the Fair Consulting Group. Hopefully, I can participate in other events, upcoming events.
Absolutely.
Yes.
Absolutely. And I know that you'll be invited back.
Yeah, thank you.
Because Mr. Fair, he's looking for the cream of the crop.
Absolutely.
And he definitely has that with you. Now, your website, just a real quick bit, because you have...
I have a website.
Yes.
My website is www.thefairconsulting.com. Robin, that's Robin, I spell my name with an I, Michelle, Michelle, we share that, Wilson.com. So again, it's www.robinmichellewilson.com.
Yes. And the tagline you have,
I am the resolute strategist. That is how I am known in my sphere of influence. I'm the resolute strategist, and I help nonprofit organizations to maximize their impact in working with youth.
there it is.
Yes.
So definitely, if you have a nonprofit and you're looking to level up, you definitely want to get a hold of Mrs. Robin Wilson.
Thank you.
Thank you so much for coming out.
Absolutely. Thank you for having me.
Oh,
Michelle.
absolutely. So thank you all so much. Tune in for the next time. My name is Michelle D. Clark with Lift Life Coaching Solutions, where we are living inspired, free, and transformed. Catch you next time. Love you. Bye.